Hello and welcome. Are you ready to improve your English while enjoying an inspiring story? Today's listening lesson is specially designed for beginner and intermediate learners. Listen carefully, learn new vocabulary naturally, and most importantly, enjoy the journey. By the end of this story, you will learn an important lesson about success, patience, and personal growth. Many people believe that successful people are different. They think successful people are smarter. They think successful people are luckier. They think successful people have special talents. But is that really true? Let's discover the answer through the story of a young man named Ethan. Ethan was 22 years old. He lived in a small town and worked in a local supermarket. Every morning, he woke up at 6 o'clock. He prepared breakfast. He took the bus to work. He worked 8 hours every day. His life was simple, but there was one problem. Ethan felt stuck. Every day looked exactly the same. Wake up, go to work, come home, watch videos, sleep, then repeat everything again. One evening, after a long day at work, Ethan sat in his room and looked out the window. The rain was falling softly. People were walking home. Cars were moving slowly through the streets. And suddenly, he asked himself a question. What am I doing with my life? The question stayed in his mind. For days, for weeks, he couldn't stop thinking about it. One Saturday morning, Ethan visited a bookstore. He wasn't looking for anything special. He simply wanted to spend some time outside. As he walked between the shelves, one book caught his attention. The title was simple. Curious, he picked it up. He opened a random page. The sentence he saw changed everything. It said, "Your future is created by what you do every day, not what you do once in a while." Ethan read the sentence again and again. Something about those words felt powerful. He bought the book immediately. That night, he read for hours. The main idea was simple. Success doesn't come from one big action. Success comes from small actions repeated every day. At first, Ethan wasn't sure. The idea sounded too simple. Could small actions really change a person's life? But he decided to try. The next morning, he made a small promise to himself. Just one promise. He would spend 15 minutes every day learning something new. Only 15 minutes. Not 1 hour. Not 2 hours. Just 15 minutes. It seemed easy. So he started. On the first day, he learned a few new English words. On the second day, he watched an educational video. On the third day, he read a short article. Nothing dramatic happened. Nothing exciting happened. His life looked exactly the same. After 1 week, he felt disappointed. Maybe this doesn't work, he thought. But then he remembered the message from the book. Small steps, big results. So he continued. 2 weeks passed. Then 3. Then 4. 1 month later, something interesting happened. He noticed that learning had become a habit. He no longer needed motivation. He simply did it. Every day, just like brushing his teeth, just like eating breakfast. The activity became part of his life. And that changed everything. Most people wait for motivation. But successful people create habits. Motivation comes and goes. Habits stay. Ethan didn't know it yet, but his future was already beginning to change. One afternoon at work, his manager approached him. "Ethan, can I talk to you for a moment?" "Of course," Ethan replied. The manager smiled. "I've noticed something." "What is it?" "You seem different lately." Ethan looked surprised. Different, yes. More focused, more confident, more positive. Ethan smiled. He hadn't realized other people could see the change. The manager continued. We have an opening for a team leader position next month. Ethan's eyes widened. A team leader? Yes. I've never been a leader before. The manager nodded. I know, but I think you should apply. That evening, Ethan walked home thinking about the conversation. Just a few months earlier, he would have said no immediately. He would have been too afraid, too uncertain, too uncomfortable. But now something felt different. For the first time in a long time, he believed he might be capable of more. Not because he had changed overnight, not because he suddenly became brilliant, but because he had spent months improving little by little, day after day, step by step. Without realizing it, he had become stronger. The next morning, he looked in the mirror and smiled. Then he said something he had never said before. I think I can do this. And for the first time, he truly believed it. A few days later, Ethan completed the application form. His hands were shaking as he submitted it. He had never applied for a leadership position before. Part of him felt excited. Another part felt terrified. What if I fail, he thought. For the next 2 weeks, he waited. Every day, he wondered if he would get the position. Finally, the day arrived. His manager called him into the office. Ethan, thank you for applying. Ethan smiled nervously. We carefully reviewed all the candidates. His heart started beating faster. Then the manager said something Ethan did not expect. I'm sorry, but we selected someone else. For a moment, Ethan said nothing. The room felt quiet. Very quiet. Oh, he finally replied. I understand. The manager looked at him kindly. You were one of our strongest candidates. But not strong enough, Ethan said softly. Not yet, the manager replied. Those 2 words stayed in Ethan's mind. Not yet. That evening, Ethan felt disappointed. He sat alone in his room. Outside, the city lights shined through the window. He thought about giving up. After all, he had worked hard. He had studied every day. He had improved himself. And still he failed. Maybe success wasn't for him. Maybe other people were simply better. Maybe he should stop trying. But then he remembered something from the book he had read months earlier. Every expert was once a beginner. He thought about athletes, musicians, writers, business owners. Did they succeed every time? Of course not. Most successful people failed many times before they succeeded. The difference was simple. They kept going. The next morning, Ethan made a decision. He would not quit. Instead of asking, why did I fail? He asked, what can I learn? That question changed everything. A few days later, he met his manager again. Can I ask you something? Ethan said, of course. What skills do I need to improve? The manager smiled. That's a great question. For the next 20 minutes, they talked. The manager explained that Ethan was hardworking and reliable, but he needed stronger communication skills. He needed more experience leading people, and he needed more confidence during interviews. Ethan listened carefully. He wrote everything down. For the first time, he realized that failure was not the end. Failure was feedback. It was information. It was a lesson. From that day forward, Ethan focused on improving those specific skills. He joined public speaking groups online. He practiced speaking more confidently. He volunteered to help train new employees. At first, it felt uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. His voice sometimes shook. He sometimes forgot what he wanted to say. Sometimes he made mistakes. But every week, he improved a little. And then something interesting happened. He stopped worrying about being perfect. Instead, he focused on getting better. Just a little better each day. Months passed. The seasons changed. Winter became spring. Spring became summer. One afternoon, a new employee named Lucas started working at the supermarket. Lucas looked nervous. He kept making small mistakes. Customers could see that he lacked confidence. Many people ignored him. But Ethan remembered how difficult it felt to be new. So he decided to help. "Don't worry," Ethan told him. "Everyone makes mistakes at the beginning." "Really?" Lucas asked. "Absolutely." For the next few weeks, Ethan guided him patiently. He answered questions. He shared advice. He encouraged him when things went wrong. One day, Lucas smiled and said, "You know, you've helped me more than anyone else here." Ethan felt proud, not because he was perfect, but because he was helping someone else grow. At that moment, he realized something important. Leadership isn't about being the smartest person in the room. Leadership is about helping others succeed. That lesson would become very important in the future, because another opportunity was coming. A bigger opportunity. One that would test everything Ethan had learned. And this time, he would be ready. Or at least, more ready than before. Because confidence doesn't come from never failing. Confidence comes from knowing that even if you fail, you can get back up and try again. And Ethan was finally beginning to understand that. One Monday morning, Ethan arrived at work earlier than usual. He was organizing supplies in the storage room when his manager entered. "Ethan, can we talk for a minute?" Ethan wiped his hands and nodded. "Sure. The company is launching a new customer service training program next month. Okay, we need someone to present the training to employees from several stores." Ethan waited. "I want you to do it." For a moment, Ethan thought he had heard the wrong name. "Me?" "Yes, you." "Present to employees from several stores." "About 40 people." 40 people. Ethan's stomach tightened. He had practiced speaking with small groups. He had helped train a few new employees. But speaking to 40 people felt completely different. His first instinct was to refuse. "I don't think I'm ready." The manager leaned against the table and looked at him calmly. "A year ago, I would have agreed with you. Today, I don't." Ethan didn't know what to say. You communicate clearly. People trust you. And when you don't know something, you ask questions instead of pretending. That matters. But what if I freeze in front of everyone? Then you take a breath and continue. That's what experienced speakers do. After a long silence, Ethan nodded slowly. "Okay, I'll do it." The moment he said the words, fear and excitement arrived together. That evening, Ethan sat at his desk with a notebook. Instead of trying to write a perfect speech, he wrote 3 simple questions. What is the most important message? What examples will help people understand it? What action should people take afterward? He realized that many presentations fail because speakers try to sound impressive. Ethan decided to focus on being useful. For the next 2 weeks, he practiced every day. He spoke aloud in his room. He recorded himself on his phone. He listened to the recordings and noticed problems. He spoke too quickly when nervous. He used too often. He looked down instead of making eye contact. So he worked on one problem at a time. Not everything at once. One problem at a time. That approach made practice manageable. A few days before the presentation, Ethan asked two coworkers to watch a rehearsal. When he finished, he asked them for honest feedback. "The beginning is strong," one coworker said. "But the middle section feels rushed," the other added. Old Ethan would have felt embarrassed. New Ethan felt grateful. Feedback was helping him improve. He revised the presentation and practiced again. Presentation day arrived. Ethan entered the conference room carrying his notes and a bottle of water. Employees from different stores were already taking their seats. Some were talking. Some were checking their phones. A few looked bored. Ethan's hands felt cold. His heart beat fast. He remembered his manager's advice. Take a breath and continue. So he did. When the session began, Ethan walked to the front of the room and looked at the audience. For a second, the fear returned. Then he said the first sentence he had practiced dozens of times. "Good morning. I'd like to start with a simple question. Have you ever had a customer remember your service months later?" Several people looked up immediately. A few nodded. The room became quieter. Ethan continued. He told a short story about a customer who returned to the store because an employee had treated her with patience and respect during a difficult day. The audience listened. As he spoke, something surprising happened. He stopped thinking about himself. He started thinking about helping the audience. That changed his energy completely. His voice became steadier. He paused more naturally. He looked at people instead of staring at his notes. Midway through the presentation, he forgot one sentence. The old panic began to rise. But instead of freezing, he paused, took a sip of water, and continued with the next idea. Nobody seemed to care. In fact, several people were taking notes. 40 minutes later, he finished. "Thank you for your attention. I hope you leave today with one idea. Customers rarely remember every detail, but they always remember how you made them feel." For a brief moment, the room was silent. Then people started clapping. Not because he was a perfect speaker, not because he never stumbled, but because he communicated something useful clearly and honestly. After the session, several employees approached him. "That was practical. I can use those ideas tomorrow. I liked the customer story. You made the topic easy to understand." Ethan thanked them, still processing what had happened. Later, his manager found him near the exit. "Well done. I made mistakes." "Yes," the manager said. "And you kept going. That's what effective speakers do." As Ethan walked home that evening, he thought about the version of himself from a year earlier. The young man who understood English videos but struggled to speak, who avoided opportunities, who believed confidence came before action. Now he understood the truth. Confidence grows after action, not before it. You speak while nervous. You try while uncertain. You learn while imperfect. And little by little, the things that once felt impossible become normal. Not overnight, not magically, but through many small steps repeated consistently. That was the secret that changed Ethan's life. And it can change yours too. If you already understand English through videos, movies, and podcasts, don't wait for the day when speaking feels easy. Start speaking now, with simple sentences, short conversations, and small daily practice. Because the bridge between understanding and speaking is not talent. It is practice, one sentence at a time, one conversation at a time, one day at a time. And one day, you will discover that the voice you were waiting for was there all along. You just had to use it. If you enjoyed this lesson and found it helpful, remember this. Every minute you spend listening to English is helping you build a stronger future. Don't worry about being perfect. Focus on making progress, one step at a time. Keep listening. Keep learning. Keep speaking. And most importantly, never give up. If this lesson motivated you and helped you improve your English, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our future English listening lessons, speaking practice sessions, and real-life English stories. New lessons are waiting for you. Better English is waiting for you. And your fluency journey starts with the next lesson. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next English listening practice.